Hey guys, it's Brianna here. Today is day 24 of the challenge. Today is July 24th, 2023. Right now, I decided to just stop by the park real quick before heading home, just to get some fresh air. This is a park that I used to go to a lot when I was in college. And yeah, it became originally I used to go by myself, just super late at night, in the middle of the night and stuff like that. But then it became something that me and one of my friends uh, would come here all the time together. So it's kind of weird being here and she's not here with me. But anyway, it's kind of nice being here. I've been wanting to come stop by here, but man, I'm always so busy, and I have not created the time, but today I did. Anyway, so I something that I wanted to talk a little bit about is something that I talked about briefly last week, which is the fact that I was going to be joining an organization. So the organization that I decided to join is called Off the Chain Alliance. So I'm actually a part of the board. I'm a board member for Off the Chain Alliance, and I decided. So in case you don't know what Off the Chain Alliance is, they help to serve underprivileged homes and families for when a loved one passes away unexpectedly. So Porscha Dillard is the CEO and founder of Off the Chain Alliance. And, it's actually really interesting how she came about creating it, because she created this nonprofit because of her own personal experience of losing her brother. And so I actually would encourage you guys to listen to, because I actually interviewed Porscha back on March 19th. So there's a radio show that I do every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. And Porscha, I interviewed her on March 19th, and yeah, in that interview, she actually goes into why she created Off the Chain Alliance, and I would encourage you guys to definitely check that out and listen to it, because it's actually really interesting. And what appealed to me the most was the fact that, so I'm in the life insurance industry. I've been in the industry for the past 10 years, and one of the reasons why or the primary reason why I decided to stay within the life insurance industry was because I just realized how important it was. Back when I started off as an intern when I was in college in 2013. And originally, I had no intentions on staying in the life insurance industry. So back then, everything was, we had to hand dial to talk, to call people. And that was hard, hand dialing. And then I was listening to the phone ring all day long. So I hated it. I absolutely hated it. But then, people would, when I did get someone on the phone, they could hear that I was young, and people would love to give me life advice. So eventually I was like, man, let me take advantage of this. So I would keep people on the phone as long as I could, just because I hated, listening to the phone just ringing all the time. It was nice to actually speak with someone. So yeah, that was interesting. But while doing that, there was a question that that I decided to start asking, and that question is, what made what it was just a curiosity of what makes someone wake up all of a sudden and decide, hey, maybe I should look into life insurance. So I started asking that question, so what made you decide to look into life insurance? And asking that question really opened up a can of worms. I had people saying all kinds of things. I can literally go on all day telling different stories that I've heard over the years, and even um, have seen over the years, where a loved one passes away unexpectedly, or even expectedly, that just the family wasn't prepared, and just everything like that. And so and it's crazy, because it's those stories that you say, oh, that'll never happen to me, yet I hear it happen to families all the time, and it's crazy. And so when I learned about Porscha's nonprofit, I was like, wow, like, I love that she's trying to help the community in those situations, because I hate, unfortunately, seeing people struggle like that, just because they weren't prepared, that so the family struggled financially to cover the basics of burial expenses or cremation expenses and stuff like that. When you are around that sort of thing, it's I guess it's very eye opening in a sense. I think I was how old was I? I think I was, by the time I was 23 is when I first got my will together. I People used to make fun of me, but it's because, not that I had any assets either, but it was just because, like, I have been exposed to it so much that I just wanted to make sure if anything were to happen, my family's good. And they knew exactly what to do or what I wanted and stuff like that. So anyway, Off the Chain Alliance really spoke to me in that sense, because I'm like, man, that's a way I can continue to help people, and so I'm seeing it more as like a branch from my business into a different side of the business where it's a nonprofit. Like I said, I am a board member. But if there's, I just am in full support of what Porscha's doing, and I want to see Off the Chain Alliance grow. And there's a lot for me to, I think there's a lot that I could possibly contribute just from my experience. So yeah, anyway, I'll be keeping you guys updated on whatever we have going on and everything like that. The one thing that I do want to kind of also bring out too, and for those of you who are out there who have life insurance policies, check your policies. If it's been a minute since you have looked at your policy, or if you've never had a life insurance agent, go take a look at it. I would suggest you have an agent that's not the original agent that sold you the policy, just in case, because from my experience of being in the industry, I have literally seen it all at this point, where an agent will misinform, or maybe they don't understand the product themselves, and so they therefore misinform a customer, or just, what's more common is, number one, most people who have life insurance, I would say 95% of people who have life insurance don't actually understand what it is that they have. And that's something that is actually extremely important for you to know what it is that you have. So I would encourage you to set up a time to speak with an agent about your policy, or actually read it yourself. I know, like, it's a lot of information in there, and maybe you might not understand it, but make sure, get your questions answered. You can feel free to reach out to me. Even my website is trueleg.com. That's TRULEG.com. Schedule an appointment. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions or anything like that. But yeah, I guess this video is going a little bit longer than I anticipated. But it's because this whole subject with off the Chain Alliance is just something that I think is really important. And I know that a lot of times people don't want to think about not existing anymore and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't do anyone any good to not talk about it or not even think about it. It just puts your family possibly in a tough situation if they're not financially strong. So my recommendation to you is consider your own situation. Number one, do you have anyone that depends on you? If that answer is yes, okay, then you need to ask yourself, okay, so if something were to happen to me today, what happens to the people who depend on me? Are they going to be able to bury me? Are they going to be able to cremate me? Are they going to be able to keep with their lifestyle? If any of those questions kind of raise an alarm, definitely take a look at life insurance. It's really not as expensive as some people think, and it really depends. So one good way that I say is a good test on an agent. Ask them what's the best, before they even know anything about you, the specifics of what you're looking for and stuff like that. Ask them, what is the best life insurance policy out there? If they answer that question without first knowing your situation, you need to run. Find somebody else who, if you ask that question to, they will say, well, that's because that's not I've had people ask me that question. It's like, well, that's not a question I can answer without knowing, knowing about you, knowing what it is that you're looking for, what your goals are, what you're looking to accomplish, and things like that. So it's a big question that no one can actually answer unless they know your situation. But anyway, I'm going to cut this short, or it's definitely not short, but cut it off at this point because this is going on almost 10 minutes. But yeah, this is my journey to business and entrepreneurship, guys, and I will see you tomorrow.